Started this the story from what home the heroine woke up and got scared and didn't understand where she located and why she's dressed like that. After this is why they came to her maids. She asked them who they and what they do. One of maids replied that she likes it, princess. You need help, how can faster get dressed? Surprised princess decided agree with them, and in the process dressing clothes she noticed the pain and understood reported that this still not a dream. One of maids confirmed that this really is not a dream and reminded me that such happens once in a lifetime, so she will have to be patient. After such words, maid or princess questions arose in my mind about getting married, whether her ready and fulfilled, whether her yesterday wish. Further we find out that she quicker. Total committed time travel on your 25th birthday. Her name is Huluo Bei. Since childhood, how would she didn't study? Always was among the best. And touches its not only studies, but also sports, where she never gave in to others. I tried really hard. That's all did perfect and thought she had perfect life. But only at the ceremony awards. At the age of 25, she realized that doesn't matter at all. Perfect whether studies girl and successful, whether she realized that if she doesn't have a man, then in the eyes of other people she looks loser. She certainly tried this correct. I went on dates, but they all didn't go well. Fine. In the same time, her parents weren't proud of her at all education, and even on the contrary, they were ashamed this. I remembered that once upon seeing her for graduation diploma photos with friends, parents got angry and stopped eating at the same table with her. But the point is, it wasn't that she does not want start-off relationship, but that themselves guys don't want this. Eventually, after everyone these thoughts and memories, she made a wish go out marry a tall, handsome, and desirable rich guy without a candy bouquet period and blew out the candles on the cake. Seeing Isabella, father was delighted and said that today she has last day in the palace Kelnmu. After all, Davtra she will come out marry a representative their state and will become binder-link friendship states. He also added that he believes that she will create new era friendship of the two peoples, thus making a toast in her honor. Meanwhile, she noticed and asked why it seemed to her that expressions persons everyone these people are not very friendly. She answered some woman that this is for the reason that they envy her. After all, only she is in this world. Princess, noble blood, and nothing more. She maybe go out marry a representative. Theirs, states she, even though I believed in this answer. But for some reason she doesn't care. It seemed all this too much suspicious. On this first day, unexpected ended. On the second day, dressed in mourning, and she had were questions about why at a wedding she's wearing this attire, and also about why everyone such faces, why even the emperor and empress don't look the same happy. Her thoughts interrupted by one young man, the man, who approached her and told her that he was Knight Alan, and from their moment hers to bodyguard. Father supplemented his words with the fact that he really is the knight who will take care of her and protect her. And what she maybe be calm and brave, rely on him. Knight also told her that he would deliver safely her to the place appointments, but before that, they must wait for a messenger from the groom from Empire's holy blood. Further sat down, she asked the knight, definitely whether him to stand even in the absence of people. He answered her that this is really necessary, because he is face his countries, and that's why he always should stand straight. He also recalled that since it will be out soon, marry a representative of his state, then she too you'll have to stand like that. Seeing finally a man whom they've been waiting for so long, she has mentally questions appeared for him whether she must go out married and man whether this or ghost. The man told her that he had come for her on the orders of his duke, and that from that moment her status increased by one title, and that now she's not only princess but also duchess, and what theirs wealth and prosperity depends now from her. Down. Seeing the coffin to which her letter down, I got scared and wondered if it was true this is a wedding and not a posthumous whether this is marriage. But despite this, she still lay down in the coffin and set off there on their way. Watching the carriage leaving, the mother asked the father, was it really her decorations now saved? Father answered positively and added that his pipe too saved. Further, she asked, saved like this case life Isabella, to which he replied that this it depends only on her. For some time later, Alan asked the main one heroines like she myself feels, and reported that they will soon arrive at the Palace Empire's holy blood. At that moment, she realized that it looked like she hadn't been buried alive and that it was most likely just a dream. But she was still scared. She also thought that it was just a specific way of getting married. After, upon arrival, the coffin was opened and the man said that according to them, traditional rules is possible only late visit, and therefore asked sorry if she didn't like it. Then he brought out her from carriage and reported that in fact, theirs state very bright, and what it even more dazzling Byzantine empires. She said that according to her opinion, not only the state, but also its appearance dazzling as if sun in the sky. More she asked is whether he is her husband. The man replied that this is not so and reported that her husband is waiting her inside. He also asked, "Don't worry, because in theirs in the state all people are very beautiful. But what the higher the status, the more beautiful. And the duke is considered the most beautiful." Another man added that it's true that dukes are the most dazzling from everyone creatures. He also said that his task was completed. After, why did he say goodbye to her? Approaching the knight to one from the door, she was informed that she can't go into it. Next, she was pointed to the door through which she can come in and report that in no way another, she can't go through the door. The princess asked why she can only go to one door, which is also herself small among everyone. She was told that only representatives of the holy blood could enter through the main entrance, while all others could only enter through other doors according to the order: holy, ordinary, mixed, dog, kitten blood, and only then, people. At that moment, she had thoughts that she was deceived about Duchess and what she counts worse than a dog at this place. I came in. She ended up through the specified door to reception room and asked for it after this wait until the duke comes to her. She's waited enough, took a long time, and asked the knight why the duke had not come yet. For what knight replied that, maybe this same part. Traditions, marriages. She pointed out that 10 hours have already passed, and what do you think? I think he doesn't respect people. For what knight replied that everything is here just mutually, because in the past people greatly despised Bloody and now they're despised. Next to their room, the maid Talo, appointed by the duke, came in. She introduced herself and said to the princess about reluctance, dukes meet her after what offered to go into the room recreation. Home, the heroine asked when they were like this case see you. To which the maid replied that this she does not know. Further home, heroine calmly accepted this fact and asked what means they saucer. The maid answered that there is control over the army, finances, rights, education, that is separate control empire in the form of 4 dukes' empires. Holy blood also clarified whether it was true she didn't know about it. Home heroine replied that it's true, and I asked who from these dukes is her husband. The maid replied that as far as she knows, all of them are her husbands. It seemed immoral to her because this even worse than animals. In the end, she was left alone in the room and thought about the fact that what would be good people living they didn't seem here drinking human blood, and she has absent wish turn into a vampire, and even more so have 4 vampire husbands straight away. Thinking also about the fact that in the future, they might have half-vampire children, she decided that she definitely can't continue to stay here. Upon attempt escape, her grabbed knight who she asked what he was doing in this place. He replied that he was very for a long time her waited. She asked after this, is it really him too wants escape? To which he replied that he wants only interfere, run away for her. She asked him also how he found out that she wants escape, and understands whether he is reasonable and important. Escape from this places. He replied that her actions of course have make sense, but do it like that it is forbidden. She asked him the reason. In response, he told her that during the last 400 years are bloody and people have long time fought. Bloody have absolute by force suppression and may live forever, but them number very small, unlike people. At first, due to the fact that there are more people, they had absolute control. But gradually bloody evolved, and saints appeared bloody ones no longer afraid sun and who do not need blood. Some of them have superpowers, and gradually the territory of people was captured bloody race, and people became slaves. In addition, recently the Emperor Holy Blood proposed to marry the princess, hoping use mixed-form marriage to establish peace between the races, and the people agreed. Therefore, in case her escape again will flare up war. He also told her that if she will be able run away from Empire's Holy Blood, then safe she definitely won't, because this she will offend 2 states at once, and both race will her look for her. Hearing these stories and understanding the seriousness situations, she reported that probably like this case and true, better go out get married just after 4 vampires. He said that question exit get married just after 4. Not yet decided, but to what extent to him known. Representatives bloody race. Very are true his partners that can see by them the emperor, after all, after of death. He never married the queen again. Further, she asked why must go out get married exactly she, and not someone else. He answered her that it's because she is an aristocrat, former princess the last 3 generations, and precisely, that's why her can count queen. The second reason is the availability heaps she has debts parents, which is why they didn't have choice. She asked if all only because of this. He replied that according to legend, she the only one who doing nothing. After all, she counts major with weak abilities and a hot temper that cannot go out get married inside states. More, according to legend going out, marry a representative bloody can bring upon misfortune for 3 generations. That can count weapons mass defeats. She asked while in a bad mood, really? Parents didn't think about it, her will eat. He replied that they thought about it, but no one cares. because to mankind needed only one chance, but there will be whether this chance thanks life or death. It doesn't matter. After this, she said that though she doesn't understand why she liked this unpleasant, but after all, she is not the major girl that does nothing, because in her life was only one elite thing. He is decided that since she always was first and never gave up, then she necessarily should make everyone aware of this regret. Later month, for the palace chewed a square sigh. The princess came with the knight and he told her that they've been around for a month now, hanging out in this VIP building, but he still doesn't understand if it's normal will appear without an invitation. The princess said that she learned that everyone can accept participation in the holiday Dracula, and what if no one said no, so they too can. Then he asked her why arose such interest in Life Bloody. After all, just recently she wanted to run away from here. She reminded his words to him that, this useless, so what exactly? So all she can do is continue. Here, live. Besides, she reported that she's not going all her life stay in the VIP house. Seeing dukes, she began to introduce herself to them that she is Princess Byzantine Empires. But she's the only one from Dukes asked move away because she interferes them. Another from Dukes, Duke of Lin, approached her and told her that his character was like that, so it's not worth it except. This close to heart. After he left, she said that if it is he who should marry her, then she agree. But the guy who came together with her, he informed her that he should marry her Anselm. She asked why this is true. He replied that it's because Emperor Saint Bloody Empires wrote reply letter to them to the Emperor, in which it says that only one the title of Dracula can become her husband. Anselm is Commander-in-Chief Army Empire's Holy Blood, and he is invincible. For him, winning the title of Dracula will not be difficult. He also added that this one that never appeared Emperor still was kind to her, and gave her the most best. She said that according to her opinion, Lin still more fits under the candidacy of her husband, and Anselm how, as if a fighting machine without any emotions. Seeing what Anselm pointed the bow with an arrow in her direction, she thought about what was similar to what he had bad mood and what he wants her kill. When arrow flew by near her head, then she had added confidence that this exactly. After then they approached her and informed her that I was late, because all the seats were already taken. Lin saw, that's what he said. It's not good render like reception to the princess who has arrived from afar. Anselm asked him what he thought must be attitude towards the person who arrived from defeated countries. Lin paid attention to the fact that she girl and asked to catch up whether should I ask her to return. For what Anselm replied that it's not necessary, because she might not have come, and also maybe leave just as it came. Dukes Hughes and Catherine simply watched and mocked the whole this existing situation. Knight offered Princess leave, but she objected that if they leave, they will no longer be able to return, and therefore she won't allow it in getting what they want. And she asked, give her the basket. She took out baskets, everything in order to make your own place, and getting a positive. The answer to the question that no one forbade her to do this. She made a place for myself, smiling broadly. Dukes, she asked not to pay attention to her attention and start yours performance, because she has all great. Meanwhile, not all dukes understanding what she did this all specially, were glad this her action. But their attention immediately transferred to the announcement official discoveries, 4th Big Congress Dracula. Eventually a battle began between the dukes, which lasted not for long. But Catherine decided fight once again with Anselm. Anselm I saw the attack and decided help should he marry the princess if he's so keen on it once. Surroundings saw what Anselm gave up and did not understand why he took such a step. The princess wondered if he really did not want to become her husband so much that even ready donate own reputation. But as it turned out, Anselm did not give up and won in this two competition. That's why everyone started congratulating him on his victory, and the defeated stated the fact that even worthless the princess couldn't stop him on his way to victory. Approaching Anselm, the princess said that their more have not officially introduced each other, and that this their first meeting. Therefore, she began to introduce herself again. But he answered her that she began to rejoice early. After these words, Anselm left, and after him passed the Duke of Catherine, who said, Princess, what she maybe only dream of taking a place, Duchess. He also added that neither he nor Anselm she definitely won't be spared. Knight reported Princess that he is dead. Got scared when I saw his look. After all, it seemed to him that he wanted her kill. That moment he approached them, Lin said that Catherine always liked it. Anselm. Therefore, this quite normal reaction. And here the princess arose. The question is Duke Catherine a man? Lin answered her that among dukes there is one duchess and this Catherine. He also said that she has nothing to worry about and nothing to fear, because she is spouse appointed by the sovereign. Therefore, no one will dare to harm her. Outside, depending on who will win the title of Dracula, she necessarily should become a wife Dracula. That is most dear woman Empire Holy Blood, after Empress. She reported that she's not afraid and what the fact is that she's just mad at herself because he can't present yourself correctly. Further, sometime later, Knight reported that in his opinion, Bloody came in too far. After all, no one helps wash things. He also said that I couldn't stand it for anything would like being on her place. Princess replied that self-washing is smaller from evil. After all, the main thing is that nobody there I still haven't drunk the blood. After these words, Knight asked if it was really the same one in front of him, Isabella. I asked what was the reason for this question. He replied that doing nothing Majorca is unlikely I would wash things on one's own. She said that now they're just like that circumstances. To which he agreed. At that moment, someone passed by them and saw them. Surprised, asked her why she all more here and why she's dressed like that. She inquired the reason for such questions. She was informed that she had today for the night ceremonies awarding Duke Anselm the title of Dracula will take place also there's engagement, and that there are still 10 minutes before the celebration begins. Having learned about this, she decided that she will go there even if they will try from her get rid of and even if unite to expel her. Meanwhile, Catherine came to the banquet and saw what Ansel expected to see. Not her, asked if he really expected to see on her place worthless princess. He replied that she's not worthless, so what she achieves what wants, but wants she now. Status, reputation, and it. Catherine reported that in such case she maybe be disappointed, because she did everything in order to the princess could not attend. He asked if he was afraid whether she has accusations from the emperor. She replied that she made the maid tell the princess about the banquet 10 minutes before the start. After he said that he was pleased with the result, because they wouldn't have another time. Further, Anselm said that as before, today's banquet will open theirs with Catherine dance. He also wanted to let you know that human princess absentee, but at that moment she came in and apologized for being late. Anselm asked Catherine why, despite the fact that she organized the princess arrived on time. She replied that in order to get there here from the West Wing, you need at least 20 minutes, so what? She couldn't run that fast. He asked if he could be in it her maid. For what she replied that this could not happen. After this, the thought came to him that quicker total. She ran through the pink field located behind the Imperial Palace. Further, main butler Imperial Palace Judsai reported that according to the Emperor's order, evening must open dance Anselma and the princesses Isabella. Catherine leaving the Duke, she told him that he could not resist the will of the Emperor. Further, passing by the princess, she told her that hopes that she won't regret coming. Came up in the end Catherine to Lin, and he told her that Princess neither drops is not afraid of them, and tries with all his might enter their team. She responded to this by saying that Princess just everything only fears be left without money. More, she added that I heard that though her family and aristocrats, but they are in very bad position, and if she wants continue live in luxury, then must join them with all our might society. Also, she said that she's in the middle, in fact can't do anything help Anselm, because he worked so hard didn't work in order to end up marrying this human girl. And also she expressed misunderstanding making such a decision by the sovereign. Lin said that the sovereign certainly there's something for that good reason, and what they have no right to speculate about it like that. Meanwhile, the princess began to think that good thing I'm at university, she went to class ballroom dancing. Otherwise, now I've definitely hit my face in the dirt. But Anselm announced the proposal change tap dance. Why many were surprised at this moment. They started him object by saying that this is not the most suitable dance for such an occasion, because besides this dance, commoners who don't conform their status. But Anselm reported that since this banquet is in his honor, then decisions will accept exactly him. The princess asked specifically, is it him did? The Duke replied positively and added that she might not come, but sooner everything came because of commercialism. She accused him of the same in response. And they were arguing about why every one of them condemns the other. With rose-torn feet, princesses dripped and spread blood. To the princess further came up Lin and asked if she was hurt. She apologized for the stained parquet floor. He said that no need to worry, because now, what is more important is that I need to see a doctor. Princess replied that doesn't see anything wrong with it, because some small ones there shouldn't be any scratches ruin the ball. More, she told him that according to her opinion, Anselm is not happy about them rapprochement. Therefore, them it was worth it would disperse. Lin assured her that then, when he calms down, he will understand that he did the right thing. He began to urgently take her to the doctor, but Anselm reminded that she herself decided to come to the ball and it was. That's why she has no right to leave this place in the very height events. Lin said that she has the right to this. Eventually, they both grabbed her hands and a conflict began between them. Catherine intervened, asking why they dragging Princess in different sides, and also she asked about not forgetting whether they are about their status. They after this both simultaneously. They let go of their hands and the princess fell. I sat down next to her Lin and asked if he was okay whether She replied that she is all right. Anselm said after this is about what he thinks Isabella doesn't respect Bloody, and that he cannot allow she came and went on her own wish. Princess objected, saying that I didn't intend to leave at all, because she all more maybe continue. Catherine stopped all this, having said that it is already enough total this. More she added, telling her that she really needs treatment. Otherwise, after total this ashamed it won't be just her. Seeing what Lin began to take the princess to the doctor, she told Lin that since Princess's bride Anselm, it won't be very good, it's good if he leaves together with her. Further, she asked him if he really didn't believe her, because they together grew up. He replied that exactly, that's why he worries. Catherine reminded that to him there's nothing to worry about, because Emperor personally ordered Fine take care of the princess, so she wouldn't dare harm her. Lin said that good that she's talking about it remembers. Maid Catherine after this led her to one of the rooms and took out the ointment and said that this the best healing ointment in Empire Holy Blood, and what she better. Total copes with wound healing. While applying the ointment, the maid said also that her attendance at this banquet is optional. However, at tomorrow's banquet, the Emperor personally her greets, therefore she must find to rest to gain strength and not be late. Meanwhile, Duke Anselm first received the Order of Dracula, and the Emperor was owner this title throughout 3 generations. He is Pride Bloody and considered the most respected among everyone. The maid also said that since the dukes know that she has no dresses, then on this day for her was the outfit has been prepared. She thought that quicker everything about it the Duke of Lin took care, because according to her opinion only he could show this to her attention. The next day the princess woke up and saw their swollen feet scared, not understanding how this could happen. Further, the maid came in and asked if he would go whether she's at today's banquet, what she answered positively. More, she added that since they constantly do some nasty things and do not want to, she stayed here. Then she will do all to their detriment. Having put on the outfit, she also said that how more they do not want to her see the more often she will loom before their eyes. Because though she is weak in body, but strong in spirit, and therefore nothing it won't break her. She eventually came to the banquet and saw what looked like almost everything is already in place. She apologized for being late. Catherine asked her maid how such happened that she came. The maid replied that she did all possible till she couldn't come. Came up, the princess ended up going to Catherine and asked if it was right. She thinks that she sat on it place. Catherine replied that where she sat down, there was no name written. And besides, I'm late. Lin reported to the princess that she maybe sit down at any free place, and seeing one of these, she headed towards it. After she sat down, she was asked to stand up, because this place not intended for the Duchess. At the same moment, Anselm decided terminate engagement in the presence everyone those who was at the table. Then he swung his sword at the princess and said that since she could sit there, only Empress, then she should be punished for insult inflicted deceased Empress. This all interrupted the Emperor, who then approached the princess and greeted her, having introduced himself before this. After total this, he sat down on his place and allowed Princess sit down, Empress Gur. After all, this place empty too much for a long time, and therefore he believes that Duchess Dracula should take his place. Anselm Emperor reported that it's been a long time since Princess arrived to them, and what Byzantine the Empire sent many letters asking when they will get married. Anselm said that this will today. He further said that need for grandiose there is no celebration, because he cannot name this event joyful and precisely. That's why they will do all fast. Hearing such statement, Emperor asked Princess Giyu, don't mind whether she replied that she doesn't mind, because that's essentially what she wants. Nothing except there was no answer left. After answer, Princess's Emperor reported that in such case, they will carry out wedding. The ceremony is in an hour. Next, already at the ceremony, Anselm and Isabella agreed to get married by answering questions. After adds their husband and wife, the Duke proceeded to put on rings. After this home, the heroine thought that though this wedding the ceremony was very modest, but the ring did not seem simple to her. Besides, she's from this moment finally married. I was happy she exactly until I remembered that after weddings must be first marriage the night that I was just afraid. But her fright dispelled the Duke, asking her stay here. She asked why she must stay. The Duke replied that he was canceling death sentence for insult deceased Empress, but at least she escaped death. Punishment her no one cancelled. That's why she will conduct next 7 days in the crypt as punishments. Wandering through the cemetery, she felt the presence of someone else except, and she thought that, this ghost. But this was Alan, who came to her to congratulate her with the fact that she came out married. She asked if her have something to do with it. Congratulations. After all, better don't go out at all married than so. He replied that this is not the most worst punishment from everyone possible compared to the life that waiting it in the next 10 years. She reported him about what, after his words, she felt more big hopelessness. He as her calmed her down, asked her not to worry, and said that she just needed to continue to behave in the same brazen manner until the moment falling in love Anselm into it. He also said that though the cemetery is quite large, but there are not many graves here, because bloody live vary for a long time. According to him, they do not age or die, and it seems that these are not just rumors. Home heroine objected, saying that emperor empires of blood are already very old. He asked her if she had met whether she is already with the emperor. She answered positively to his question. He started to interrogate how he looks, arguing this is because she maybe is first of the people who saw it with my own eyes and survived. Before there was no time about his appearance, no information. She replied that I didn't see his face, but his hands were covered wrinkles, so she did conclusion that he is definitely old. He said that, this not surprising. Then he started talking about how even though everyone says that he is all soul I loved Empress, but there were rumors that he loved also human girls who he was 18, and from which not a single one died death. According to him, they died one after another, but no one ever found out the reason for them death as well. No one knows where their body. Exactly. Therefore, everyone was very surprised when he married the Duchess. She said that despite this, that's all, it seems to her. A little the strange thing is that they don't must look like her opinion bloody. He told her that you shouldn't judge a book by its cover because where more important look into its essence, and he pointed to one of the graves. Seeing what this grave belongs the Empress and also seeing blood on it, she asked if Empress also died not her own death. He replied that doubts with him personally about this is not the case. He also said that he won't surprised if she also soon will die. She asked if they were staying whether they all more bloody if now they don't drink human blood. He replied that for some time they can hold back, but not always. I asked if there is whether way escape. He replied that this may be only if Anselm her. She will love you not for her princess status, not because of coercion, but for real. According to him, life ordinary person incredibly short, but if he's into it fall in love, it will be protect the rest of her life. 7 days after exit from Crypt E, the princess thought about what though I have never cooked. But since the weight of the heart men lies through his stomach, then she will go for this too. She prepared the dish, brought it to Anselm and reported that this special delicacy with her homeland, which she wants him to try. But he didn't. This try and called guards in order to they took him away from him. Hired the killer was well interrogated. She asked where he saw near myself hired killer. When the guards grabbed her, she realized what he meant in view of exactly her, and not someone else. He further said that from the very first day when she arrived in the Empire, he guessed that she is planning something and finally waited until her insidious idea opened up. The Duke ordered her to be put in prison and promised to interrogate her later with passion. He didn't pay attention to her cries that she is not hired killer and what she didn't do anything wrong. Further, being already in prison, she cried and did not understand how it happened that she for the first time in my life baked pie, put her soul into it, and her for it accused of trying murders. Meanwhile, to the departing from the table to Anselm came up Lin and asked, didn't leave whether Princess yours punishment in sacred lands is mandatory, whether it was no joke to put her in prison, whether was about advice 3. Anselm replied that he was not joking and that he really convened judicial advice. Next, already in the open judicial meeting, Judge asked Duke Anselm what he thought of the attempt Princesses Isabella poison her. He replied that there was nothing here think up. After all, everything is so obvious. Pointing to the pie, he declared his belief that it was poisonous and that it did not look like food. He also drew attention judges that no one dared this try. After this, judge asked the jury what they think about this check. One of jury agreed with the opinion. Anselma added that according to her opinion is not necessary look for a victim for the experiment, and besides, they should not to risk life representative bloody for the sake of the princess. After her spoke out more too from jury in favor Anselma, and the judge had nothing left in addition to announce princess guilty of trying poisoning. But I didn't have time. The judge finished the sentence when he interrupted him. Knight Allen, who reported that it contained Flo's holy blood, so he's not afraid poison, and declared his desire. Try pie. Having tried pie, the knight began to cough and a doctor was called to him for examination. After it turned out that everything is fine with him, one of the jury stated that even if there is no poison inside, then leave it unattended, it is forbidden. Anselm supported and reminded her that 2 states are in a state war, and it is obvious that Princess Byzantine empires had hidden motives when leaving Mary a representative empires of blood. Lin reported that he believed that need to princess give yourself a chance justify eventually went to her. She asked if he was whether her pie poisoned, to which he replied that he was not. He also asked why I decided to cook at this pie. She replied that I've never cooked in my life, and the only dish I've ever eaten is a medieval one, Europe, about which she knew was exactly cake, looking at the stars. More, she argued. This is because the Duke is very a lot of works and usually for him not enough at all time to rest. That is, he has no left time to stop and look at the beautiful stars. Lin promised hand over Anselm her words, and on her the question is can't whether all more to go out. He replied that he would be able to soon. Then he went and handed over to him her words. Anselm in turn said that she quicker just misjudged the situation, because he looks at the stars every day and it was. That's why given justification is not suitable. Lin continued to say that it doesn't matter, because she as it appears total. I just wanted to do to him pleasant, and not harmful. Besides, the emperor is unlikely will be happy when about everyone finds out. Anselm thought about his words. The next day the princess released, but on the street the maid reported that all not completely yet free and exactly. That's why she must follow her. She brought her to the kitchen and reported that Anselm said that since she wants to cook, then she must learn how to do it. This good and that from today she will study in this place along with other maids. Also, she informed her that if for the time until she won't learn to cook, someone will reveal her true personality, then this will mean that she failed the exam and her will send after this back to Byzantine Empire. Princess, after everyone these explanations, I realized that the Duke had found a good way attempts get rid of her. After all finish. Here education will not very easy. Also, she thought that back in the past life when she simply adored sweets, she could not even imagine what was in this life her. They will send you to learn how to cook desserts. Further, she decided that no one will notice if she will eat a piece. After all, desserts in front of her big quantity. That same moment Chef Teresa approached her and told her that no one before didn't let her steal for a moment sweets. The princess said that no one had told her either, and that they should not be eaten. After that, she asked if she could have a small piece because she was very hungry now. The chef started at beat and talk about she daydreamed a lot, thinking about what can eat something before do something. Further, she told the princess that though she doesn't even know with help what connection she got here, in this kitchen there is the strict rule is that he who does not work will not eat. She gave it to her in the end task to cook cakes from plytest, but after hearing questions about what means puff, she asked where it came from even if even doesn't know this. Hearing answer princesses that say this can't happen, she said that, then she will treat her as normal person and asked her mix 4 types of flour in a 1.1 ratio per 1,000 servings. Princess reported that she did not have enough for this quantity's ingredients. The chef clapped her hands. The maids brought the ingredients and she said that they have plenty of ingredients, so it's not worth mentioning worry. Moreover, according to her, these cakes they will be prepared for the soldiers. The princess asked, is it really this lie that bloody can live forever without food? The chef replied that exactly. That's why desserts are so important and what for her, this great honor and what she should be proud of this opportunity. Having started work, she read the recipe, in which there was flour with low-content gluten-free, baking powder, sound enhancer, and more. What more? Much from this I was very surprised. Having started mixing, the chef stopped her and reported that must be strictly observed proportions, not mixing all at random. The princess asked if it was necessary was to mix everything is 1.1. The chef asked in response, does she have scales instead of hands? The princess at that moment remembered that I have been studying for more than 10 years in exact sciences, received a doctorate in chemistry, and her hands automatically measure proportions accurate to the millimeter. She didn't understand why she can't do the same with regular flour. After all, she achieved incredible things, success in your life and about it. Achievements they even wrote in school textbooks. But thinking about what? If she's talking about it, no one will won't believe it. She said about what she had ordinary hands. The chef, in turn, said that in such case she must follow all rules. The chef also told the princess that she dismissively applies to this professions. Also, she talked about what she's in the past, was a woman knight and held the rank of general. The princess asked why in such a case she's gotten so fat. The chef replied that weight has nothing to do with it, because for real, outstanding people remain better than would they haven't decided to. More, she added that, this all because all depends on attitude person to his to the point, and exactly. That's why need to think through absolutely everything, down to the smallest detail. More, she said that if underestimate banal things, then in the future, maybe it turns out that the whole path has been passed in vain. Princess replied that she all understood. Later, sometime she finished and thought that everyone around her people are pretty insensitive because of they didn't leave even a small piece. Gone she from kitchen and passing by one from the door, I smelled food and decided to go to this door. Then she ate a chicken that was waiting for someone there, and after this she realized that will too obvious if she will leave. Everything is as it is. There is. That's why she decided that need to clean up footprints. She was hiding a plate. She noticed the board, and it seemed to her that the owner this rooms arose problems with solution tasks and times she ate his chicken. Then I would like to help him with a decision. On the next after this day, the judge convened everyone and said that last at night in his room, someone got in. Noticing the absence princesses, they came to her and reported that the name is 4 dukes. Having run to the palace square, I didn't see anyone and realized that it looked like she was deceived. After this, she went to Teresa and asked what was wrong with today's meeting. She replied that there was nothing in it special, because I just snuck into the palace thief. Princess asked what it was stolen, and it was, "Is there anything expensive there?" The chef replied that the chicken had been stolen. The princess asked, "Is it really chicken worth it? Search the entire palace." The chef replied that it's not just theft chicken, but a provocation all palace guards, and besides, there was more. Another one was inflicted serious damage. The dukes say that thief took it with me a certain object, and if they find it, they will also find the thief. That's why today no one is allowed return to their rooms. Princess understood that she can't let them find evidence, and so she decided go. Seeing intention princess, the chef reminded us of the ban on returning to the rooms. Also, she assigned a maid to her Isai, who explained to her that until the moment they found proof, it is prohibited to move around the palace alone. At this moment, the princess began to think about what to do and how to be. Meanwhile, the judge was informed that they searched all the rooms except rooms princesses, and none evidence was not found. Argued this is because the officially she is wife of Duke Anselm, then they cannot search her room. But unexpectedly for everyone, the Duke allowed search. During the search, the Duke was informed that in the room princesses nothing was not found. After the Duke suggested this judge give up. After all this, the person is clearly not in the palace. But the judge stated that he could not give up, and definitely will find him. After all, the man who managed to solve his equation considered a god in his heart. Princess hid plate and coming to your room saw scatteredness everyone things and asked the maid why they wet her bed. The maid replied that this happened accidentally while carrying out search. More, the princess asked about staying whether after search the same mess in other rooms, to which the maid replied that she doesn't know this. The princess asked if there was whether the same mess in the maid's room, to which she replied positively and asked me to just forget about it. The princess said after this is what though. Now the only thing that they can is oblivion. She promises that one day she will become stronger, and no one will dare more their belittle. In the morning, the princess came into the kitchen and said that in her opinion how earlier she will go to work, the sooner everything will learn. After all, need to work hard to reach tops. After this, she prepared something and invited the chef to try it. Teresa tried and told the princess that she outdid myself, so they will serve. This is the dish at the evening banquet of 4 dukes. At the evening banquet, the dukes liked cakes and them asked who they were prepared. The maid replied that Isabella prepared them. One of dukes said the maid that to him like it talented people, and what need to reward and express his personal blah blah princess. Before the maid left, Catherine whispered to her I asked for something else. Princess meanwhile understood that human blood incredible, attractive to the bloody and precisely. That's why the cakes seemed to them so delicious. The next day, Teresa announced that today will take place a large banquet in honor of the upcoming feast of the Great Resurrection. And since Princess Fine showed itself, then preparation goes over under her responsibility. Having heard that this time we need to prepare 3,000 portions, including for the emperor, she thought about whether it was fatal. This will be for her. After all, for this required a lot of blood. But how only she remembered Anselm, she decided take this step to become his beloved for the rest life. After a while time, already at the banquet, Emperor asked the Duke where Princess Yar. Anselm replied that she showed interest in making sweets, so she helps in the kitchen to prepare cakes. After the cakes were brought and everyone began to praise them, the emperor began to leave. To questions about where exactly why he was leaving, he replied that he was going save life. Meanwhile, as the banquet ended, Teresa mocked the princess lying on the floor. At the moment of bullying came, the emperor took it princess. The chef tried to explain something, but it was too late. Having met on the way Anselm, emperor said him about what he will give to him time to think and then he will all explain. The Duke agreed with this. Finally woke up princess and asked the maid, who happened to be nearby at that moment, where she now located. She answered her that this is Anselm's bedroom and what they now can sleep together. Further, the emperor was informed that princess lost too much. There is a lot of blood, but now she is not in danger, so he can be calm. After this, Emperor said Anselm that he does not want this happened again, and the Duke with this also agreed. The maid told the princess that Emperor said your word, so she maybe do the next step as birth baby that will be able to strengthen her status as a duchess. After her care, the princess thought about how behave. After all, she lived 25 years, and for this time, I've never even held hands with a guy or dated anyone. Her thoughts interrupted the Duke, who entered the room, who informed her that today he won't do anything to her at night. Home, the heroine said to this. What she said? Homeland, there is a saying that wife must follow your husband in everything, and exactly so he can do whatever you want with her. Only wishes. He told her that he didn't want what she under this implies. Next, he asked her lie down on the sofa while how he lies down on the bed. They sat down and she asked him if there would be, does she have blanket? He replied that Emperor was afraid that they will sleep separately and precisely. That's why ordered to leave only one blanket. In response to arguments that at night after all it will be cold, she received his cloak as blankets. They end up sometime we slept, and suddenly he woke up to arguments that more nighty, reported that in his room, all happens according to his schedule. After he led this one her for charging and said that she won't run, but as his woman, she won't also sleep until late. Then, watching him run, she thought that information that how better man, the harder he works truthful. But remembering my past life, she understood that she after all not lazy either human. After all, she the only one who was in the library at 4 a.m. at school, and also she remembers loneliness that penetrates into the very soul. In the eyes of the Duke, it is understandable. The thing is that she seems lazy, but she decided to do everything so that he admits she's not lazy. Meanwhile, the Duke was observed as he diligently works after became Dracula. But at some point they noticed that someone was running after the Duke behind and thought that quicker. Total. This princess. It was true princess, and despite the fact that the Duke had already run 20 laps, she was not going to him lose. At some point, her vision grew dim and she began to fall, but she managed to grab another Duke who was nearby at that moment. Although she assured him that she's okay. He asked, don't move her, because she all still wounded. I approached them. Anselm asked Lina let go her. After all, she, maybe go by yourself. Lin asked. Consciously did he let her run around with him because Emperor asked him to be polite with her. Because I have not yet recovered from the illness. Anselm replied that she herself followed him and that he did not force her. Princess confirmed his words. Lin asked, forced whether Anselm answer her like that, and without waiting for an answer announced that he would accept solution instead of her. Anselm asked Lin why he always devotes special attention to his princess. Lin replied that if he really finally realized that home heroine is his princess, then in this case he should be kind to her. Anselm took the princess by the hand and leading away stated Lin that this is his woman and what he can do treat her the way he wants. At that moment she approached them another girl and asked Lin not to overdo it, because to him, really shouldn't interfere with this. Also, she added that even if he thinks that do you need something do it, then this is not necessary show. Lin said Anselm that though the princess said that everything is fine with her, but he must report it. Anselm allowed to him do this. Further, young woman went to the judge and reported that even Lin crazy about this. Princesses. Judge. He said to this that happened last time a lot of what and what she is a problem for them. The girl asked him to remember what he said. Meanwhile, Princess understood that at the moment everything only 8 hours. So what? Ahead more all day, and since quicker total. She can't do it anymore, I decided to go to sleep. She should go to the kitchen. Walking into the kitchen, I saw only Teresa, rewound, and asked what happened to her. She replied that doubts that she doesn't know that it happened to her. The princess said that she really doesn't know anything and asked maybe whether she helped with something. The chef replied that if she can ask her for help, then from today she will be in charge of the kitchen. How only she's with it agreed and sat down. Then they immediately started suggest maids came running different food and drinks. She understood that at least in the past she didn't drink, but anyway, case it doesn't have no sense. Further, she decided that sitting in the kitchen all day, endlessly eating very boring and exactly. That's why I decided to take a walk. Passing by the room judges, she couldn't help but go there and help with the solution more. One tasks. But I didn't have time. She this do it. After all, judge was already next to the door and asked who was behind it. Running away, I accidentally left my shoes behind. Judge realized that this was woman. In the evening, Anselm asked one of the maids, has she returned? More princess, to which she replied negative. After this answer, the Duke said that door will be locked strictly at 9, and if she doesn't come back, which means she doesn't need it. The princess arrived at the gate at 9:01 and wondered how can to be so heartless, so strictly locking all the gates and doors. After this, she thought about what quicker total her the room has already been taken since she lives with the Duke, and besides, She can't spend the night now, also with Alan. Looking at the walls and noticing that they're not like that too tall, she decided to take a risk. In progress, while flying over the wall, she noticed that the Duke was currently bathing, but canceled the flight has already taken place too much late. After she ended up finally got into the room, she began to make excuses, saying that I didn't see anything. But the Duke was not interested in this. There's more of him interested. The question is where she was before this moment. She replied that she got lost, and he asked, next, the question is how exactly she capable get lost. But without waiting intelligible, he asked for an answer. Her take a shower. Because he doesn't want to, she got dirty as floor. After taking a shower, she returned to the room and noticed that not only did he not kick out her for her actions, but also left her a new bedspread. She mentally wondered about falling in love whether finally the Duke came into her. He told her that he just doesn't want to be scolded emperor. All this precisely for the reason that the emperor already spoke to him today and said to him that since she's his wife, he doesn't want it hear her name from Lin or anyone else. Also, emperor added that all that is required of him at the moment is take care of your wife. The Duke understood that this woman is this problem, and to exclude any misunderstanding, he informed her that from tomorrow she would not have to go to the kitchen. After all, she can just follow him. On her, the question is, where he's the one whose her will lead. He replied that about this she finds out tomorrow. The next day, the judge everyone called and reported what he had found left a shoe in his room yesterday. One of those present said that, here about 3,000 maids with the same size shoes. What judge reported that this how minimum confirms that she from this palace. Noticing something strange behavior in Selma, judge turned to him and asked, is it known whether to him something about this? That answered negative to his question. At the same moment, she joined them princess, who is immediately asked why she's dressed like that. On this, she replied that that's exactly how it is asked dress up as a duke. After confirmation words, the Duke himself asked him what right the princess has to wear a military uniform. In response to the fact that according to him, she will go with him to the barracks, they started him scold for it and reported that about it will be reported to the emperor. The princess asked the Duke if she could really was how to dress. The Duke replied that if he said it means it's possible, and besides, according to him, she no longer needs to wear shoes maids, because he will prepare a new pair for her. They end up with swords. And the princess, considering they thought that she couldn't even imagine that, will be able to see so many swords in one place. Taking one of the swords, the Duke asked her if she liked it, whether she answered his question positively. She was joyful exactly until he informed her that they were all belong her ancestors. And when he talked about how his clan took all these swords from the hands of men generals later many years of battles, and that all the generals who the swords were taken away killed by his blade without exception, she became even worse. Seeing her mood, he asked her if she felt sorry for her people. She answered negatively and started my story about yourself. She talked about what useless deny the fact that if would she return to human empire alone, then she could not. I could not ignore the fact that she is already a member of the Holy Blood clan. More, she said that although these swords represent blood and carnage, she has nothing to do with them feelings. According to her, parents sent her here for the sake of money, and her people sacrificed for her own sake benefits, and exactly so since then she completely alone. More, she added that, how only she stepped onto the land of the Empire Holy Blood, she told herself that from now on, same is a member of the Holy Blood clan, and that her more nothing connects with humanity empire. Meanwhile, the emperor was informed that the princess is currently visiting barracks, what there shouldn't be. Emperor reported that there's nothing wrong with that. So what? Everything is fine. Coming out from weapons warehouse, princess found free place and asked if maybe whether she build swing. The Duke replied that in the barracks it was unacceptable. After this, they returned from the barracks and went their separate ways. Catherine came to the Duke and asked if it was true the relationship has reached such a level that he can take her with him everywhere and keep it close to you. He replied that it was not his intention, that he doesn't like him, and then she's done will explain. She, in turn, stated that she had it worked out opinion of what he wants be with her around the clock. He reminded her that nothing this might not have happened if would she agreed marry him before the princess appeared. He also added that his relationship with the princess not at all like she imagines what. There's no need to be jealous. Hearing their conversation, Princess, I realized that it looks like she destroyed their relationships and what quicker total. Exactly. That's why the Duke is so her hates. Next to the princess came up, Catherine said that she knows that she overheard theirs talk. Princess tried prove that she didn't hear anything, but Catherine decided to tell her about everything. Even if I didn't hear anything. According to her, from birth they initially were heirs Titclov and Foursome. They grew up, went to school, played and did all together. They even simultaneously joined the army, and they respectively sow deep feelings for each other that nobody will not separate them. Even if this will she. Princess said that she had no idea goals. Their separate Catherine asked in turn why. Then in this case Lin has changed a lot after her appearance. Without waiting for an answer, she ordered her not to come out from home and not make a fuss so as not to disturb there once again. Also, she indicated that this is an order that is not discussed. Looking at the expression faces Catherine, she remembered that I dreamed about this and I always thought that she the same. After all, they're all like that confident, boastful and plump enthusiasm for your work were. But also I also remembered that she's just a stranger to whom no one is happy, and who all more trying gain confidence in them. After a while time she walked past the dukes in a bad mood and Lin noticed this. This is what he asked Anselm, mocked whether he is over the princess again. That replied that he did not have time for this. Catherine, sitting next to her, told Lin that no one will consider him dumb if he just remains silent. But he said he doesn't see problems with reminders Anselm on the need taking care of the princess. Meanwhile, the princess was thinking that the duke would rather doesn't want everything she bothered him, and if the thing is, then she made a decision obediently stay away from them. I even said out loud that quicker. Total will better if she won't more create problems for anyone, otherwise the duke will swear. But this hurt Anselm, who happened to be not far from her at that moment. After what he heard, he wondered mentally the question is he really that frightening? After a while bathing, she thought about what even if the soul still belongs to her and she has not forgotten what she learned. Now, her face much better former. But she still feels absence something important. All dukes, according to her opinion, really are Part 1 countries, and therefore she always will outsider. After adoption bathroom, she walked to the entrance to the room and stopped. The duke said that she, maybe to come in. When she came in and sat down near him, he asked if he was really that scary. She replied that he was not scary and asked if he did whether something is wrong today. He assured her, is that nothing today, I didn't do anything, and besides, he thought and realized that he really was too much harsh on her. He also added that from today he will no longer be intentionally show yours rough attitude the way he did this earlier. He reminded her of her words that she talked about what she also became a member of the Holy Blood clan and said that he believed in her words. He also informed her that from today he would treat her like a member of the Holy Blood clan and that maybe calmly count this place your home in the future. The next day she was told that her culinary skills improved. She, in turn, added that according to her, in my opinion, absolutely everything develops in the right way direction. More, she said that the duke is not only no longer cold with her, but even gave her her freedom and let her do everything that she only wishes. Knight informed her that she finally saw the duke with good sides and convinced remove his guard from her. But in his opinion, basic task now is hanging to a place where lives the king of the empire Holy Blood. When asked what it will give her, he said that since Anselm won the title of Dracula, then in this way he will become next King Empire's Holy Blood, and she respectively will become queen. She asked if she would allow whether does the clan of the Holy Blood become theirs queen person? He replied negatively and said that, exactly so, adapting to her need to grow your own power. He also reminded her of her words that 4 dukes are stronger than gold and that she cannot fit in. But in his opinion, it's just a show. After all, in fact, the insidious nature in them is much more serious than I could have guessed this. And besides, Anselm did not marry Catherine for the reason that his family formed before the start of the war, and accordingly, she does not have significant weight in the empire. Therefore, she was marry a man from inferior class. But, because of the uprising human race and war of the Holy Blood clan, after Anselm took under the control of the military, his family really rose to the unattainable heights. While Catherine started about it, I'm sorry, but it was too much late and at least Anselm did not want to marry her. But he had to, understand the reason for the change relationship with him, Catherine. As a result, according to the Knight Allen, Duke accepted her existence and therefore now she must accept appearance Duchess and play your part. First of all, in his opinion, she must make friends. After a while, Time Princess approached the Duke with a question about whether she's holding a tea party ceremony on his behalf. The Duke replied that as long as she won't dare smash house, she maybe do anything. Hearing approval, she went up to him and kissed him on the cheek, which he did not expect. The next day, Princess announced a tea room ceremony, prepared tea and began to wait. Wives important officials' empires. After all, according to her opinion, she will get along with them. There will be no future too much gloomy. Meanwhile, in the kitchen, the maids discussed what even after thorough no one came to prepare for afternoon tea, because according to them, opinion Catherine is the only one from those responsible for stealing the Duchess's fiancé. I heard these words Anselm, who happened to be nearby at that moment, ordered them go and get yours punishment yourself for what they slandered the Duchess. In the evening, the princess proceeded to apologize for maybe again, all ruined it. But the Duke reassured her and informed her that there is no fault in this. He also added that overnight it is impossible to fit into the new clan. But despite this, he is, and he proposed to her after this eat with him. Having agreed to this and having tried one of the dishes, she reported that, "This delicious. So what I've never seen that one of them ate this is exactly. That's why she did. All this specially for him to try. He's not afraid. Tried it and reported that this really tasty. She in turn told him that if it's so delicious, she's ready to cook it for him every day." Meanwhile, someone watching said Catherine about these two not bad get along. Catherine, in turn, wondered if the Duke had gone crazy. More, she added that she did not understand why he was at work, time attended a banquet that was not attended even viscounts and counts, and, moreover, dared there is broccoli. Lynn reported Catherine says that he is not crazy at all, but simply blinded love. Hearing this, Catherine thought that she now can't do it anymore, tolerate Isabella. After Anselm left alone, to him came up Lynn asked if he knew. When did he ate that more everything in the world the people of the Holy Blood clan hate exactly green vegetables, because they will give it tear. Anselm replied that he knew this, but if he wouldn't eat it then the princess upset would more. Lynn asked after this when he had time turn into a person who worries about what upset someone. Anselm replied that the princess is not like that other people, and what she is first and foremost his wife. Bestowed to him the emperor, and precisely so he should communicate well with her. After this, Lynn said that in his opinion he just fell in love with her, to which Anselm replied that this impossible. Lynn asked if he was going to continue deny. This even after ate for her even broccoli. What? That replied that he was right, that better accept this, and not to deny it. More, Anselm said that he found out that she enough really cute in fact, after what vomited everything that ate before that. More, Lynn reminded that today will take place monthly. Regular examination Imperial Army, and asked Anselm if he was ready. Does he go? That replied that ready, and that he's in it sure. Meanwhile, the princess was waiting for the Duke in the room, but only waited for his servant, who informed her that the Duke today won't come back in the evening. So what? She. Maybe sleep in bed while he's gone and don't worry about him. Hearing this, she lay down on the bed, and being in a joyful condition fell asleep, dreaming of a good joint life. She was sleeping. Anselm asked Lynna urgently, "Go to the eastern region because how faster they will finish inspection, the sooner he can go back to the palace." Lynn reminded him that in the past it took them 4 days to cover 4 districts, but he has already checked 3 districts in 1 day, and in his opinion it looks like he is not going to stop. Anselm replied that this all for the reason that the princess is waiting for him. After all, if it were not for her, it was would the same as before. After heard, Lynn thought that Anselm is clearly lying about the fact that he is not in love, because he can't stand it. Now separation from her even for a moment. Later, some time, an officer came to the Princess Duchess Catherine asked to follow her. The princess asked what the reason was, but the officer replied that she is not privy to the situation in detail and precisely. That's why I have to do everything myself, find out already on the spot. The princess said that Anselm ordered her wait without going anywhere. But at that moment we entered guards, and officer reported that the Duchess ordered the use of force if she won't want to go with them voluntarily. Meanwhile, Lynn asked Anselm, really isn't he going to stay here? For another day? That answered negatively and argued it's what's in his soul restless now. After Princess locked and chained like criminal, Catherine came to her and reported that there is proof her collusion with enemies' countries where it is written about her dissatisfaction empire, and about it ominous intentions. Princess reported that she does not admit her guilt, because since she came out get married in the empire Holy Blood, she knew that the empire of people abandoned it, and accordingly, she didn't mean to cause harm empire's Holy Blood. After these words, Catherine asked how she's wearing this case. Maybe explain contents of the letter, which it is said that soon the empire Holy Blood will fall. The letter also said that Duke Dracula is vain, Catherine suspicious, Hugh is not interested in politics, and Lynn is not able to retain power, and, moreover, in the event capture Duke's hearts they take over the entire empire. The princess asked Catherine if based on only from a couple of these proposals, she believes that she wrote this and not too much whether this hasty conclusions. At the supreme judges, she asked, she thinks is he that person can admit guilty only because of the couple sheets of paper. Catherine reported judge that on the paper his stamp and handwriting are very looks like his. In addition, for every letter the king of human Impenia answered, and besides material she has proof there is also a witness. Seeing who entered Alana, the princess asked him how he, being her boss, Could-be witness Knight replied that in this case he can't hide anything further because of her, and confirmed the delivery of letters personally them. In response to arguments of innocence, Catherine reported that no criminal never admits to crimes immediately, and in connection with existing evidence, she offers punishment: torture. Judge after this announced recognition, guilt princesses in progress court for state treason and communication with the enemy, and necessity immediate execution. Also, judge announced that in view of her special status, before issuance final verdict, she will imprisoned. When she was transferred to prison, Catherine came to her and reported that then when will return. Anselm finds out that she conspired with the enemy and became a traitor. Her suffering only will increase. When Catherine came out from prison, she saw arrived Anselm, interested in where now his wife is there. She walked up to him and held out the verdict of the Supreme Court in her hand, Empire, regarding Isabella, who committed treason, because of which she won't come back. He asked how they dared to judge her without him. She replied that were found weighty evidence and what exactly, so there was no reason to hesitate. More, she added that in any case, like everyone, it is known that she-her doesn't like her, and besides, she's not the only one who her hates. When he began to leave, she asked where he was going. He replied that to him don't care, under what pretext his wife was arrested. But she still managed to stop him by saying that Isabel exposed in treason and that all the evidence is in her hand, and also that only he can decide, save whether her after reading the verdict. Anselm, nevertheless, he took the sentence and began to read. While he was reading it, she continued slander the princess nasty things. After he read silently left and she went to the princess and reported that the duke had returned and that he did not want her see. After all, he is from those who hates traitors more everything in the world. Also, Catherine reported to the princess that she will executed by hanging soon, time that is strong for her scared. More, she reported to the princess about what she is. There are 2 documents, one for divorce, and the other for recognition guilt. After confessions, guilt and divorce from Dracula, her crimes can to be, according to her, forgiven. The princess stated that she refuses salvation his life this way, and what they can't take away her rights that easily. But Catherine doesn't care, replied that she became a victim more than when her sent he wants to come here, whether she save your life, decide remains now only to herself. Later sometime, Princess Lin signed the document reported. This Anselm asked if he wanted, does he take a look? That replied that he had no need take care of a person who is not worth his time. Further, Lin went to Catherine and asked if it was too much whether this harsh punishment for the princess. She replied that princess deserved it. More, she said that there's nothing to say about her, because current result is needed them in order to return to theirs former life. Sometime later, the princess and duke arrived at the place termination marriage where the princess was asked to return the mark of Duke Dracula. She took off ring, returned it to the place where it originally lay, and their marriage was officially announced, dissolved. Leaving the place registrations and terminations marriages, she felt myself all of a sudden relaxed in this, all because she no longer needs think about her responsibility in the future. Anselm after termination marriage. Congratulations on receiving freedom from the Princess Human Empires. The Duke thanked everyone for their congratulations and declared his desire retire not for long. After that's why he went search princess, and later sometime he searches for her found and saw how she was cleaning the room. To the next morning the maid called her go with her to the emperor, and she agreed to this. When she came, he told her that he was her called to talk about what the human empire refused her accept. She replied that she's not surprised this. After all, even her parents told her that she will die in the empire. Holy blood to her arrival. Emperor added that though the empire does not recognize people, he looks at her as his subject and there are 2 options for it. To the question what this options, he replied that one of them is exit marrying Hugh and becoming his duchess, and second option is admission to the academy holy blood. Catherine. This I heard and thought that emperor too much really biased. Further, she went complain about how the marriage contract looked cancelled, and in fact princess was thrown on Hugh that she believes incomprehensible. Lin supported emperor, saying that in his opinion, this enough good solution. Hugh declared that he did not agree to marry the princess in his own way. Wish. When asked what he will to do if he is forced to do this, he replied that he was like this case will treat it like a cup and put it her on the table like. This did Anselm. Lin? I asked if there was really another option. Catherine replied that he is, but given cruel appeal academy holy blood with new people, she quicker will choose marriage. When Anselm was asked about she, maybe choose, he replied that quicker. Total she will choose academy. The princess really chose academy, and the emperor in turn warning of danger I asked, I'm sure whether she is that really wants choose thorny path. Princess replied that according to her opinion it doesn't matter at all how much or what she has to do. Test on thorny ways. After all, this better than be dependent on others and not knowing when expect disasters. After the selection was announced to the Duke's princesses, Catherine decided go and take measures to she didn't get there. After all, according to her, I think it's there no one understands. Lin asked Anselm go and convince Princess go out marry Hugh and not go to the academy. But that one refused, giving reasons this is because judging by her character, she will never want be ordinary. After a while time Lin decided took everything upon himself, and, taking the princess by the hand, began her forcibly take somewhere. When asked where he took her leads, he replied that she was not allowed to go to the academy, and precisely that's why he saves. She tried stop him and said that she better will go to the academy than will come out marry someone she doesn't love. He told her that it wasn't served there, none human food, and therefore she will die if we'll go to the academy. Princess broke out from his hands and stated that even if she will die, will accept this like your destiny, and this time she will rely on your own strength to everyone respected her. Further, after a while, about time a maid approached her and informed her that her carriage is waiting her at the side entrance to the palace. On the way to the cart, she met Knight Allen, whom I never expected to see it, approached her and told her that how only I learned that she going to the distance journey, he was afraid that she gets hungry. And that's it. That's why I brought her some human food. He also said that she maybe refuse accept this is also about what he hopes that she will live. Now the best life. She refused accept anything from him and reported that she doesn't blame him for his choice wealth and power, but at the same time and forgive him. Also, she doesn't want to. Then he approached her old acquaintance, and said that he wanted to meet her before. But it is not appropriate for him to meet with the princess and duchess. She replied that in that case it was the right time. For now she was no longer a princess and no longer a duchess, so she could communicate without further obstacles. But at the same moment they saw Anselm asked her how she dared after divorce start right away, chat with other guys. She asked in response, does he have anything to do with her? The Duke replied that, how ex-husband and wife, he doesn't want her was unhappy life at the academy, and so he decided to give her a gift for the divorce. Holding it out to her in his hand dagger, he added that she was not only with him, will be able to protect yourself, but also peel the fruit when will hungry. She said in response that she didn't need it, and that she does not want rely more to no one else, but because they divorced. Then more there is nothing between them in general, and nothing she doesn't need it. Passing some from places located between empire and academy, she asked, everywhere is it so beautiful in the empire? Familiar replied that this is not the case everywhere, and that this only in the capital is it so beautiful. Then he suggested that she go to other parts empire's holy blood, assuring her that it won't delay her report to the academy. Collapsed. They after her consent to the undeveloped land of the Holy Blood clan, which had previously only been crossed several people, and he asked her, bye. What relax? After all, she definitely doesn't belong here. Look by what? She looked at the coffin and thought about what she after all can't stand it, the idea that the Holy Blood clan uses the coffin as talisman. An acquaintance who was a coachman at that moment also informed her that if she can't sleep, then for this can use perfume on the side of the coffin that she is in, this will help. I put on some perfume and fell asleep. But at the same moment they flew towards them arrows, and he took her and began carry her away as far away from the carriage as possible. He ran exactly until he reached the cliff. They ran after him pursuers, and also stopping not far from them. They asked him if he wanted is he to their pushed. They, or is it himself will do. Leader pursuer reported to an acquaintance princesses that if he does it himself, then he can all more use her dead body. But if this will do, then this will end completely different. Eventually they jumped themselves, and the leader approaching the cliff reported everyone to the rest that they now can come back and report about everything. Arriving at Catherine, he reported Death Princess, and when asked if she though somehow survive, he replied that there was no chance of salvation. Meanwhile all more was alive thanks to a friend who held their all. This time on some branch, and finally continued soft landing. After landing, the princess woke up and asked him why they ended up in this place and where the carriage disappeared. To which he replied that happened accident, and what he wants she carried the rest of the way to the academy in her arms. She reported that she does not want them used for this goals, to which he said that he also did not want this. But the situation forces do only this. Finding herself suddenly in flight, she asked if this legendary skill lungs legs about which all time mentioned in legends. He answered her that about nothing skill lungs, he doesn't know his legs and what he uses now. One of abilities their Holy Blood clan, and also that. Later she gradually finds out about it. Later. Meanwhile, near Academy Officer Jack told Ross that Academy Ian dials new students only once a year, and if someone won't make it in time come now, you have to him wait next of the year. Ross stated his desire wait one more minute after what already accept final solution. How only this minute passed and more no one ever came, they decided hurry to the academy so as not to miss the whole show. But at that moment the princess was already near them and asked them, "Wait more a minute. After all, she here to report." Jack told her that she can no longer enter because the reception day is already over, but she, in turn, said that she, after all, total only at all. A little, she was late and asked permission to enter, but after they saw her accompanying, they bowed to her and reported that she, maybe to come in. She asked the attendant why they all of a sudden changed, so suddenly your solution. That answered her that quicker. Total they didn't want her upset. After these words, she grabbed his hand and asked him to go together with her to the academy, dragging him along with her. We've arrived, they end up in one of the halls, and when they asked from Purebred whether she the Rhine family, she answered positively and realized that quicker. Total her provided false personality. Then Jack handed it to her in his hand entry document and life and death contract which asked sign. She asked why this document is called a life and death contract. Officer Academy replied that from the moment entrance to the campus, the Academy does not provide responsibility for whether she is alive or not. After signing, Ross provided her with her Academy uniform and the key to room A202. Next, Jack reported her successful passing everyone entrance procedures, greeted her at the Academy Holy Blood, which also called Bloody Academy, and offered to go further. They walked towards her room. Attendant gave her a potion that hides human smell and he told her that she should drink it every 7 days. He also promised to bring it to her on time. Having reached the stairs, the attendant informed her that young men. It is forbidden to enter the dormitories, girls, so he can bring her just before that places. Further, she said it took a long time. Time took care of her, and she in turn doesn't even know his name. He replied that his name was Eli. Walking into your room, she realized that the room looks like a room her dreams and she couldn't rejoice enough At the moment when she lay down on the bed, noticed a strange smell and removed the blanket, she saw there's a big one underneath amount of blood. At that moment, she thought that quicker total previous owner rooms expired blood to death. Hearing cries that this is what she needs and that she must go to hell, I went to the window and saw a guy there. When she saw him, she thought that quicker. Total exactly such killing people and what quicker total on campus is happening. Bullying. He told her that everything applies here torture, and everyone takes part in it participation. Therefore, nobody not guilty of anything. Seeing also. Another guy tied to a tree decided that he needed to be saved and that do. This must exactly she. Meanwhile, all this was under the control of an officer academy, which reported everyone those present that any of them may be whip-bound. After what hand over whip next? Her detained one of students and asked how she going to save the bound one based on from what she's not from a pureblood clan. After all, she didn't become a big tree, she must think only about my own security. She told him that she cannot watch the victim being killed and not even try help. After these words, she ran to the victim. She approached the officers and asked them, "Stop." They were surprised to hear this. One of them approached her and said that her ancestors are not from a pureblood clan, and that's why she doesn't dare even stick out. She asked if only because of they are not from a pureblood clan, they can offend or even take life. She was told that all right. I understood that it's not only because of this. When asked what done that guy, officer said that at the academy, Holy Blood everyone from 4 large families has its own sphere of influence. According to him, that guy thanked themselves for their own outstanding achievements and refused to join any side. This way no one will protect him, and death is the only one exit from here. Academy Holy Blood is the place where the 4 main families choose replacement people for whom need to serve one from families after release. That guy's refusal to join meant only what he puts myself against large families, and even if they will finish study in the future, then the 4 dukes will not want to see such scenes, and his death will not happen be considered waste resources. Next, they asked her personally which side she will decide join. She in turn reported that also none of families will not choose. Officer said that in this case an example of it end life is directly in front of her, and if this doesn't scare her, rather, total very brave. Her began to surround her, and she thought that since this her first day at the academy, then no one won't dare anything do with her. She was right. Everyone walked away from her at some point without doing anything, and the officer stated to the victim that since it's almost already dawn, he is in no hurry will continue play with him another day. After everyone left, she untied the victim and covered her. Then she thought about what if there was a half-breed tortured to death on campus academy, then about it as a fake purebred had all nothing to say. Further, she remembered that low-level blood fears light, and what if not for a ray of light, then her end quicker. Total would be the same despite her first day at the academy. She was already beginning to regret that rejected offer, except a dagger from Anselm. but it was too late. After all, now she maybe rely exclusively only for yourself. Meanwhile, Catherine learned that all students in this cohort had been accepted and that quicker total Isabella did not die. After answer from the servant that quicker total was some kind of misunderstanding because of the bodies were never found, she asked him to get all the information about the newcomers this trimester. But having heard that this year there will be no information not disclosed, she realized that Emperor and right very fine protects human princess. Further, she asked the servant to inform her if he found out something. After all, she does not believe that in a completely separate world, human princess will be able to survive and get out from there. Returning and spending some time in your room, the princess thought that inverted time. Holy Blood clan activities from day to night gives her a lot inconvenience. Also, given the fact that blood soaked the bed underwear, she didn't dare wear it. I tried to sleep due it's on the floor, but after a while time her back was already starting to ache. She was in thought. She was under door, they slipped a letter. In him, she read the request not to go to class. After this, she thought about what she can't constantly hide, otherwise target her arrival here will get lost. I decided she after this meet enemy despite no matter what, because it's in the dictionary, there's no such thing as life the escape. She finally came a little. I was late for class and took yours place. One of teachers began to say that academy was built in order to form the Holy Blood clan outside, depending on whether they are half-breeds or purebred or ordinary blood. After these words, the princess thought about it, turns out to be members of the Holy Blood clan. Not necessarily are born, and what really, in fact, them you can become by passing some kind of ritual. But really, in fact, less than 1% of people become members of the Holy Blood clan and even level of death higher. This numbers. Teacher. I'm sure that only blood and life. Maybe forge warriors really necessary empire, and if everyone present dare sit and listen to him, then they. This means they have already put their life and death on the line. Further, teacher announced the distribution everyone present at the relevant camps in accordance with their points for passing introductory test. After distribution's test sheets questions, Lin distracted teacher and asked not to create problems for the princess if she won't allow it serious errors. When asked about the reason, the Duke replied that she had there as a patron who is not none of Dukes. Later sometime, having answered all the questions, the princess thought about what even though she has time to break out go ahead, she doesn't want it to look like too much aggressive in front of peers. Waiting for the moment when everything has passed their sheets, she passed finally yours and with joy came out from class. Later sometime, after exhibiting results, one of them asked students, interesting whether she has her rating. She replied that she already knows its rating without searching, because her name is Isabella. Uvidev then on the scoreboard name on the first place, the student realized that now no wonder why she is not worried about her rating, because before the absolute by force, she has the right freely choose which family clan join. Then he asked her, she chose whether she is already a clan. She replied that I haven't chosen anyone and I don't intend to choose. He's after what he heard began to tell her that if she didn't have protection of the clan, then her life will complicated. Because clans control teachers' different items. She asked him not to worry about her because I'm sure that will be number one for each from items and what she doesn't need in no way help. She came after this conversation in my room and decided that she is so tired this day that she has absolutely everything equal. There is, whether on the bed, human blood. But at the moment when she was already lying at the door, someone knocked. Opening door, she saw Eli came to her. He told her that she had planned martial arts exam arts, so he decided visit her to find out doesn't feel whether she feeling uncomfortable. When he decided help her accept medicine and apply ointment to wounds formed along the way home due to minor attacks, she thought about what fine would go out get married exactly for him. After he finished with this, he told her that will leave medicines for her to she on one's own. I took care of myself in the future if he was gone. He started to leave, but before he did, she asked if he could whether he be close to her any more time. He replied that if she wants it so much, then he can disorganize. Meanwhile, Lin came with answers to questions Students' Academy at the entrance exam to the judge and said that since he was good at mathematics, then, in his opinion, he should Seeing the maximum possible level assessments, he stated his desire go, meet the one who belongs to these estimates. As he left, he said also what in his opinion need to in advance take this person any price. After a while, time at the academy teacher collected everyone's students and announced the beginning of a new ceremony's choice family clan. Based on the results of the entrance tests at the first place in the ranking, according to him was Leon Morgan from Greenwich. Upon provision to him choice, he chose Dracula as family clan princess. I didn't expect it at all. Next to the choice came out princess and told teacher John about her reluctance enter in no way family. The teacher told her that she personally has no right to choose, because she is located in 200th place and due to the rules of the academy, she will distribute it according to the academy plan. She reminded the teacher that she is on the first place in the written test. The teacher in turn reminded her that she is on the last place in combat arts, and this significantly affects this. He also said that Ministry Defense and Finance are already filled, and since she has good academic indicators, then she will join the Ministry Education. Remembering what kind of Ministry Education answers Lin, she decided that it will be great to work for him in the future. After distribution, she decided, hold on, lower blood clansmen at sunset and rest at dawn, given that they cannot see sun. Sometime later, she could hardly imagine how it was possible continue in the same spirit, considering that her body is unlikely. This will withstand. At some point, she threw me down the stairs and started mock her until he came. The judge didn't order stop. Seeing Judge A, all of them stopped mocked her and started make excuses by saying that she fell herself. Duke Hugh passed near her, ordering her not to be in his way, because he did not yet know that this exactly she got the highest point. But to the princess, someone offered his hand and asked if he was okay whether she. This someone was very well known to her because I was very happy about his arrival.